This episode of That One Time is brought to you by Ace Beer Growlers, your one-stop shop for beer, wine, Traeger grills, and all your grilling and smoking essentials. Mention promo code podcast and get $1 off any sauce or rub in the store. You can visit them at their location on West Court Square in downtown Newnan, directly next to Piedmont Newnan Gym. Y'all are listening to a new podcast. It's called That One Time, and it's with Toby Nix, and I'm Clay Neely, and today it is bitterly cold outside, and so that's got us kind of thinking about, where do we want to go when it's not so cold outside, or right, it is cold outside, hell, and I'm thinking you're a Panama City kind of guy, am I right?
I am definitely a Panama City guy. I grew up going to Panama City, and I don't see myself going anywhere else anytime soon. But you know what? It don't even have to be warm weather because I'd go down there right now if I could. We've gone in the winter. We've gone in the fall. It's my happy place. I like the white sands of the Gulf and all that good stuff.
Yeah. So that you've been going there for how long?
That's the only place we ever went when we were kids.
Okay.
I grew up in Union City, and we'd go down there. I think about once a year. When we went on vacation, it was to Panama City, and we'd load up the car. I think about 3:00 in the morning, and if memory serves correct, it was because our vehicle did not have air conditioning, mm-hmm. So that was the time that you went so that you didn't sweat too badly.
Plus, you slept probably a good, at least a third of it, I guess, if you're that age, or are you just wide awake from the get-go?
Yeah, I don't remember. I've never been able to fall asleep in a car very well, so I don't think I didn't fall asleep. Somebody may have been asleep in the car, but it wasn't me. It's just, and I've never been able to read in a car either.
Like, I get sick.
I do too. Same thing. So yeah, it wasn't for me. I wish I could sleep because it'd make trips a lot better. But
yeah, we grew up in a time where we can't read, and we didn't have anything else. We didn't have iPads. We're not having DVD players. So yeah, we are basically looking out the window from Union City.
Oh yeah.
To
Well, and my father smoked cigarettes at the time, too. And during my childhood, there was no secondhand smoke dangers, or if there were, no one cared. Exist. Yeah. So he would fire them up about every other mile. And the little bitty window that you would open up in front of that didn't take any smoke out. That I don't know what that did. I guess you could hold your cigarette right up to it, and it would get a little bit out, but it didn't do anything for the back seat.
The unair conditioned back seat.
Yeah. And for whatever reason, he would flip the cigarette out, and then shut the window and then exhale his last smoke. So I don't even know, but that was, it was a habit, I guess, he always put that last exhale in an enclosed vehicle. But yeah, we'd get down there, and I don't know if back then you just didn't make reservations because we'd go down there and we'd go to one hotel and then sit in the parking lot, and Pop would walk in, and then we'd get to wherever we were staying that had room.
Yeah.
And we would we sat across the street a lot of the times back then because we were kind of poor or really poor, either way. I don't know. I mean, everybody in the neighborhood was poor, so it was, if everybody's poor, nobody's poor.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm a Panama City guy.
So on your way down there, did you guys stopping to eat anywhere?
No, we
brown bagging it.
Yeah, we would bring snacks, and that's something that I carry over to this day. I don't, and you know what? We actually leave early in the morning too. Our car has air conditioning, but I like it. You beat the traffic kind of that way.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to leave anywhere at 1 in the afternoon.
No. So we get down there. We get down there very early because we leave so early. But we don't stop. We stop for gas, and if one of the kids is has to go really badly or something. But
you don't pee though. Right?
No, never. I try to take full use of both kidneys and encourage that from both children.
You passing Gatorade bottles to the back seats.
Absolutely. Well, because I got a brother who lives in Washington, D.C., and we'd drive up there a lot. And I think the best time I ever made was 10 and a half hours or 9.5. It was a pretty good time, but I was working overnight at the time, so I left like 8 p.m., so it was no traffic. But one time we stopped, is like the halfway point was Burlington, North Carolina, somewhere around in there.
Yeah.
And we stopped at a hotel, and the entire time I'm at the hotel, all I'm doing is thinking about where I would be on the road. So it was completely miserable, I'm not good at stopping anywhere.
Just do the whole thing all the way through.
I want to get where I'm going. Yeah. And the same way when we're coming back from the beach, we leave early from the beach. I think most people think I'm crazy, but if it's travel day, then let's get where we're going.
I don't know if that's a guy thing or not. But I mean, I'm not a scenic route kind of guy. I know, with Beth, if we go anywhere on a road trip, typically, I mean, she's like, well, that's half the pleasures, all the places that you go through. And I'm like, yeah, but I mean, you're on an interstate. So, I mean, if you're on an interstate, you don't have any of the distractions, hopefully. But if you're going on some side roads, man, yeah, you're prone to getting pulled over. Well, let's go to this place, let's go to that place.
Yeah.
But no, you just it's all about making time.
All right. And then now they have the thing on your phone that gives you like the estimated time, which is it's like a goal.
Oh no, yeah, that's
like,
yeah.
I'll show you.
It's not healthy. That thing, I'm always trying to beat it too. I'm like, I'll show you. You think
absolutely?
Hour and a half, huh?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, going down there, I mean, I think my best record ever in a car trip is I left Kennesaw to drive to Massachusetts. And I did it all in one fell swoop.
Woo.
And I left Kennesaw, I guess around 9 or 10 in the morning. And I remember driving through, I guess this is the western part of New York State. And I'm just sitting there with the windows down, just trying to, music up, just stretching anything I can. Because, I mean, now it's like 2:30 in the morning. And, I mean, I'm fried. I've been driving this Honda Civic with very little suspension to begin with. And, I mean, I've been listening to talk. I mean, my brain's fried. They're like, look, it's just, pounding. Like, please stop. And when I finally got home, I laid in the bed and I just vibrated for like 45 minutes. I mean, it was the craziest decompression. Of course, you've been drinking, Mountain Dew and all that stuff on the way up there, just trying to keep yourself awake. But yeah, that's about my good stretch. But hell, that wasn't a vacation. That was just trying to get someplace from point A to B.
That's what I did that DC trip nonstop overnight. And
Newports and Metallica tapes.
It was actually you have a good memory. It was Metallica, and it was I think it was Newport. It was menthol. I know that. I smoked at the time, and it was me and my wife, and she probably slept most of the way, and I had Metallica and menthol cigarettes to keep. You know what's crazy about that trip is we left at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock that night, and we didn't have cell phones back then. No. I couldn't imagine leaving now. I won't walk up to the mailbox without my cell phone. I couldn't imagine getting on the interstate and going up to Washington D.C. we were at College Park at the time with no cell phone overnight. It's like I can't, it's just crazy to think how far we've come in our lifetime with technology.
Oh no, I mean, especially when it comes to road trips and things like that. Like you said, even going to the mailbox, you're just kind of patting your pocket, going, "Did I leave that back?" I mean, I hope I know where that is.
In my defense, my mailbox is kind of far from the house. So
yeah, I mean, that is about a 20-minute.
I could trip and fall.
Yeah,
you never know. Those cats follow me. I could trip over one of those things.
Out in Heard County, man, anything goes.
Yes,
I mean, you're out there. So when you get down to Panama City, where's the first place you're going? I mean, I know people when they get someplace that obviously they've been driving, but I mean they're like, we got to go here first. That's it.
So anyone that knows me well or my family knows that we're all about food, and because we leave so early, we get down there a few hours before check-in.
Yeah.
So we go straight to the Whataburger, and there's a Whataburger down there, and we fill up on Whataburger hamburgers and French fries and the spicy ketchup that they're famous for.
That's right.
Because I don't want to I don't want to go to the beach and then have to get back in the car in my driving clothes. I have clothes I drive in. I have clothes.
That's right. For the swamp ass.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
You have to. I wear elastic shorts and comfortable shoes. That
have comfortable shoes.
So I have my driving clothes, and then I have my beach clothes, and I have my restaurant clothes. Now, bear in mind, all this will fit into one backpack.
What are your restaurant clothes?
Well, they're khaki shorts and a button-down shirt.
Not Whataburger clothes.
No.
Okay.
I can eat at Whataburger with my elastics.
Okay.
But if we're going to Captain Anderson's, I wear the fancy shorts.
Yeah. You got to put on.
I have nice flip-flops and beach flip-flops.
You have formal flip-flops?
Yes. We're all about class. That's right. Knicks clan.
Going to Panama City for 30 years, you know how things are done.
Absolutely.
There's a certain way to carry yourself.
There's Alvin's Island flip flops and there's Captain Anderson's flip flops, and they are not to be confused with each other.
So when you get there and you've had your Whataburger, this is after you've procured your lodging. You know where you're staying.
I actually book a room, unlike my father.
What?
Yeah,
you just don't cruise around looking for the neon sign?
I book a room. I'm not that. I like to live on the edge, but I'm not that much.
Lodging, yeah,
yeah. So I book a room, and so we they'll tell you that you can check in early or whatever, but it's always like the room that you're trying to check into is the last one they're going to clean that day or something. Yeah. So there's not much early check-ins down there. So we usually kill time. We'll go eat, and then we'll probably stop by Alvin's Island and make sure that they haven't sold anything since the last time we were down there. And that's usually the case. They have all the same stuff's in the same spot.
So once you get there, you hit the ground running. You're not, going to the room to like just take a little siesta.
No.
The clock is running.
Absolutely. We try to maximize it. We'll go to the beach. I like to be on the beach. Now, I know growing up, we weren't able to stay on the beach, and then we've done it a few times in the past couple of years. We don't stay on the beach, but if I'm going to drive 4.5 hours, I want to go out on my patio and see the beach.
That's right.
I want to drink my coffee on the beach, or I'm sorry, on the patio, looking out over all the glorious views the Gulf of Mexico allows.
Yes, the rigs.
Yes.
And the early risers who like to get down to the beach, the crack of dawn, probably schlepping a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
You see guys like that?
Absolutely. The poor sap, you wake up, you're drinking your coffee, you're like, and I'm, if we go to the beach, we'll go a couple times a day, but we'll take a couple of towels, a cooler or whatever, and we can come back and forth, go out to eat and this and that. But there's always the one guy who's got a trailer full of stuff and some umbrellas and some tents and this and that. And it's always, it's an SEC team that is emblazoned on the tent or the umbrella. So, I was like, man, okay, well, there's where the Alabama contingent is setting up. Now, where are the UGA guys going to sit? And I can't fathom how, there's countless miles of beach, and this guy is going out there to stake his claim on this spot. I don't get it. It's not for me.
He's probably slave to routine too, though. He's probably been going to that spot for probably just as long as you.
He might be.
He's like, I've got to get that spot. That's why he's getting up at the crack of dawn, so no one can get that spot.
That spot is where Leonard Skinner through the little speaker resonates the best. That's where the Bose speaker. Yeah. So I'm all for it. Whatever makes him happy. But I try to. We set up our little towel. I'm not as far away from everybody. I just want to see the ocean and hear the breeze. I don't. I try to steer clear of everybody.
Now, are you the kind that gets in the water? You just there for the breeze and the view? And
I prefer to be on the ocean. I don't care so much to be in it. I don't care nothing about sharks. I'm not big on undertow or nowadays it's every day's a red flag. I'm sure that's some kind of they just so they can okay, well, we warned you, dummy. But
there's no do you see lifeguards on Panama City Beach?
No, only thing I see is that little kid who brings the blue mats out. You know what I'm talking about? He'll come out there early. He's with the guy with the Alabama umbrella, and he's pulling out those blue mats that cost $50 a day to rent. And but that's the only thing between me and drowning is that kid. I'll get in it, but I'm not. I'll get in it maybe waist deep, and that's on a white flag day. You throw out yellow and red, I might be ankle deep or knee deep. I'm not that guy with the ocean, but I love being on it, looking at it, walking down the beach. The beach is my happy place, but I don't have to be in the water to have fun at the beach.
Yeah. So when you're down at Panama City and it's time for the nice clothes, where are you going?
Well, now.
I don't want you to give away your secrets. I don't want those spots to blow up.
Yeah, I know. We try to go to Captain Anderson's once a trip. But if we had to pick one or the other, if we had to pick between Whataburger and Captain Anderson's, we're picking Whataburger. But we will go there, and there's this place down there called that Cajun place, and it's DAT, that Cajun place. Yeah, in keeping with the whatever. But but because me and my son are big on seafood.
Okay,
Like, you know, my daughter, if they got chicken wings, she'll eat anywhere.
Yep.
You know, and my wife, she's allergic to.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, she grew up eating shellfish, and now she's allergic. So she's kind of good wherever. But me and my son try to get seafood everywhere we can. So Captain Anderson's a hot spot, and we stay down on Thomas Drive. I think it's away from the crowd. It is for me. Like there's not so many high rises. So we stay down there as best we can, and eat. Like no matter what city you send us to, we're gonna find some spots to eat.
Absolutely. You're on vacation, man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you get any good conversations on the way, back from the hotel? Or on the way to the hotel, actually, like at the elevator? Well,
okay, so it's funny you asked that because there's always, like at the end of the day, you've been back and forth to the beach 3 or 4 times. There's everybody's families, everybody's looking, everybody's people watching, like I go down to watch people are watching us. Yeah. So every time, well, okay, maybe 9 out of 10 times, there's gonna be some dude, and he's gonna ask my wife, it's like, okay, so we've been looking all day. What country are you from? Oh my God. And it's without fail, you know. And she always, she's from Cambodia, even though no one has ever guessed that. Like of all the guesses that she's ever gotten, Filipino is the most popular. But there's always that dude. Like, so it's just funny to think, like, so I'm on the beach looking at all the guys with the SEC umbrellas, and all of them are looking at me wondering where my wife's from. So it's funny, but they always, the elevator ride up, and she'll talk to anyone. I will not. And she's like that awkward silence. She's
gonna feel it.
Absolutely. Yeah. And she always Cambodia, and and they usually don't even know where Cambodia is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that's right between. Cambodia. Yeah. Well, he's like, what's right? It's it's kind of like sandwiched in there between North and South Vietnam. But it's funny that they always ask her that. But it's we were shopping the other day here in town, and the guy. He looks at me and he's like, "Hey, do you mind if I ask your wife a question without you getting insulted?"
I was like, well, I can't guarantee it.
Right. It's like if you're going to ask her on a date, maybe. But I knew what he was going to ask, because everybody always asks her. So, and I didn't. I was like, yeah, whatever.
Where was this, by the way?
It was at a hardware store.
Okay,
we were trying to buy paint for my daughter's bedroom, and I mean, it's an innocent thing. I know because people get offended nowadays if you ask them that, and it's like,
people are offended by everything.
Well, that's why, and my wife's not from that generation. If you ask her where she's from, she's going to tell you, and it's a nice conversation piece because people want to. If I'm naturally curious, I like to know about cultures. You can't say like no one wants to know about cultures and then be mad at people when they ask you, hey, where are you from? Like, it's clear that you're like if you hear her talk and you look at her, you can know that she wasn't born and raised here. She was raised here but not born here. She's got the accent, so it's not we're not offended by that. She's not offended. I'm obviously not offended. But yeah, so he asked her, and they went on to have like a 10 or 15 minute conversation, because I think he'd either visited there or somewhere close by. So
there's always a connection,
right?
Somehow.
People don't ask you that because they're about to give you grief. Like they're genuine. 90% of the people are genuinely like curious and like maybe want to talk to you about it. Or it's not a bad thing all the time. And but on the elevator on the ride up, she's always explaining to the guy with the SEC umbrella where she's from and how that relates to the Pacific Southeast or whatever.
Well, that's cool. So y'all aren't typically staying at those high rises. You've got, and again, I don't want you to give away your secrets where you stay, but you want a good view. You're a grown man.
I'm the opposite of a high rise guy. I don't the parking lot and the walking up and I don't even the place we stayed at last time didn't have an elevator. I prefer the places that don't have an elevator. People have a different definition of safe elevator capacity than I do. And they'll like you're on there and like you got your wife and your 2 kids and like somebody maybe holding a float and then a couple more will get on and they'll just keep. I was like it's enough. Like
might smell a little alcohol too.
It's
kind of floating around.
It's enough. Like if you stay right there and wait a couple of minutes, this door is going to open up and it's going to be empty. Like we do not have to all pile on here.
They're doing this all night.
I'm kind of claustrophobic and it freaks me out. the times we've stayed at places with elevators, if we're not on like the 19th floor, we'll take the stairs. I'll take the stairs.
Yeah.
It's just I don't get that. but I'm not. We don't like the big condos. That's not our scene. And Panama City's all condos now. I mean, there's very few small places left down there.
We're going to take a quick break to bring you a word from our sponsor. Folks, Ace Beer Growlers is Coweta's most extensive dealer for Traeger wood fire grills. And if you'd rather spend more of your time with your family instead of over the grill, take advantage of wood fire technology from Traeger today. It's as easy as set it and forget it. And now back to our podcast. We used to go down there. I think we're kind of the same way. I don't know if we would ever plan to, get reservations or anything, but I do remember my dad letting me drive the Escort, like, for stretches of highway where, like, nothing was. I was, like, 6 years old, and he's like, "Oh, you're doing a great job." I'm like, all right, this is great. And there's one time I got a traffic ticket for going too fast because I kept bugging him about, when we're going to get there, when we're going to get there. But the places that we would stay, they were typically like those, 1, 2-story motels. And, I mean, it was no frills. But, I mean, like you said, you're not there to stay in the room all day.
Right.
I mean, it's a place to unload and then get out there.
That's it. Yeah, I mean, it's I don't understand the need to spend $2,000 on a room when you're just gonna be going back. Like, we literally sleep there and change clothes there.
Air conditioning's great.
Oh yeah,
you've got air conditioning in the bed.
Yeah,
shower.
You can run up there during the little afternoon thunderstorm that hits every day.
Yeah,
but yeah, we do that, and that's my happy place. Like I said, Panama City's it for me. And you know that I was actually I had a column in their newspaper about a year and a half ago. I wrote an article about Panama City and sent it down there on a whim, and they printed it.
Did they really?
They sure did. And then the regulars were like, I forget what, I think I wrote something about everything I just said about how I love it and I grew up coming here or whatever. Yeah. And then on the comment section, the regulars, the regulars were giving me grief. I guess the people who live there don't like the tourists who probably account for 95% of the revenue the city comes. The
local Panama City people don't go in for the tourists.
Yeah, so they were giving
kind of curmudgeonly right there.
Right, yeah. So they were giving me grief. But you know what? And I kept thinking, like, if I ever live my dream and move down there, then I'm probably not going to I'll be the guy commenting too.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, absolutely. Get off my beach. So,
oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like moving to New Orleans complaining about, or Las Vegas complaining about tourists. You're like, buddy, look, I'm sorry. You don't live in the middle of nowhere.
I have some angry Panama City residents at my newspaper article. But I have a copy. I have a friend who owns a spot down there, and his mom was down staying at his place when that newspaper article hit. Oh, so I've got a copy of it. It's pretty cool.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I add that to my scrapbook that I've never scrapped.
So when you're down there, what are you the airbrush T-shirt guy, or are you getting
I'm absolutely the airbrush T-shirt guy.
It's
like the vacation is not official if you do not have an airbrush T-shirt with the year.
Happened.
Yeah, you got to have a year. If there's a flying dolphin out of the water, that helps the situation.
Yes.
My daughter and I got one last year. My son and wife, they've got more money sense than me and my daughter, I guess, because we got our airbrush shirts. But it said, mine said my name. It had some kind of neon pink doll. I don't know what it had, but it's the best shirt. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Of course, I haven't worn it since I came back up, but it's hanging in my closet.
Well,
so
you have it.
That's right. I can prove that I was in Panama City in 2018 if I ever need to prove it. Because you're not buying that shirt in Georgia, by God.
Oh no, it's counterfeit.
Absolutely.
Well, what else do you pick up down there?
Usually, a lot of food and my airbrush shirt. Yeah. My daughter always wants this. What do they sell down there that if you buy the cage, they give you the little crab? They give you there's some kind of animal, but we haven't went for that one yet. There's some little animal that she wants to get that it ain't.
They ever try to bring anything back when they were kids?
Who, me or
the kids?
No,
like crabs and stuff like that.
No, they don't
sneak anything home.
I always tell my wife, like, I've seen it now. Like, now that our kids are kind of grown, I see all these good ideas on the internet where people would take, like, they have a mason jar and they've got sand from every year, stuff like that. And I was like, man, where were you at when my kids were little? Like, so. But we weren't that creative.
Yeah.
We just went down there and came back. My wife. You know how when you hit like maybe 100 miles out, you start seeing the beef jerky, alligator jerky, all these different stores. And she's always wanted to stop at one, but I'm always in such a rush to get either to the beach or back home. But this last trip down, we stopped on the way back because nothing's getting in the way of me and the beach. So I'm not, but on the way back, I was like, all right, I guess the house in Heard County can wait 30 minutes for us to stop in this little store. And I got to tell you, it was the coolest store. Like, we just stopped at it was one of those little stores on the side of the road in Florida. And I think they sold fresh honey, which we didn't need, but I bought some anyway. A bunch of jerky that we bought, and a bunch of souvenirs that, were probably left over from Alvin's Island. But it was a neat little stop. So I think that we'll probably stop there on the way back. A new little family tradition, I guess, will be to stop at one of those little knick-knack type stores.
I mean, they typically have a lot of local fare, like you said, especially with the honey. It's going to be regional,
right?
Especially hyper regional, actually, from that.
Well, and I got something called Tupelo honey. I looked it up, and it's supposedly pretty rare from the Tupelo groves or something. I prefer our honey that we get at our house, but that's probably just me being partial to my bees. But there was some neat things about that honey. I think that if I read it correctly, if I'm remembering correctly, it's the only honey that diabetics can eat without messing up their whatever. Yeah, but I'm it just flavor wise, I like our little Heard County honey, but that's just because my bees are. I put so much work into getting it. I guess that's why I like it. But those stores are cool. So I look forward to stopping next time. So it's a new little twist to the family trip is stopping at one of those alligator jerky stores.
So when you're coming home, are you doing the same routine where you're waking up a little early the day to drive home? Or
absolutely. It's early. I wake up, if I'm not on night shift at work, if like just a normal routine, I wake up at about 4:00 in the morning anyway. So that's my internal body clock is 4 a.m. and so we're usually on the road by 5ish. And that way, you're missing a lot of the traffic. The kids can snooze a little bit, and I'm back home, or back wherever I'm going at a pretty good hour, and I can do whatever I want to do, because we plan our trips around when our garden is going to hit. So because my wife is huge into gardening, and I don't know what she knows about it, but I love everything about it, and so I'll tell her like, hey, when do we need to go on vacation so that we don't miss, it all the stuff you've planted, kind of coming.
Typically, how long out are you? About a week with the vacation?
If
5
I'm
days?
Lucky, we did within the last 5 years that we've done one week vacation. Wow. But my crew, we would rather go down twice a year at 3 days or 4 days than once a year at a week.
80 days, absolutely.
Because you get, and like I said, we don't care if it's summertime or whatever. I mean, summertime is the best, but I would prefer the small break, one or two small breaks as opposed to one long one. Because at day number 6, what are you doing? Waterburg, the spicy ketchup has lost its flair.
3-4 days, and you've got the gist.
Right. Yeah. So we try for that 2 mini trips as opposed to the one big one. But a couple of years ago, we went with my parents went down, my brothers, my sisters-in-law, my nephews, nieces. So that was a really cool trip, and we stayed for a week. So that was worth it. And if we could get that crew down again, I would go for a week. But the odds of that happening aren't very good. So
what's your record time for getting from here to there?
I'm thinking probably 4.5. I don't drive like a maniac, so I'm thinking 4.5 is probably about. That's what we shoot for. We don't stop, but I don't want to catch no ticket either. No, from Eufaula, wherever or something. Because you'll see a couple on the way, but. There's one town down, I think it is Eufaula, with all those old houses that I like going through there real slow. They always got some cool houses to look at. But I'm not a speed demon by any stretch. But
so when you get home, is the garden just good to go, or does she have a lot of work to?
There's a lot of work, and we usually have we got some buddies who'll come and kind of water it, or at least, or something like that. But there's we have 20-something chickens, which, like I said, all that's taken care of by a friend usually. But there's a lot to catch up on at the house with that, and that's usually about the time that I'm pulling honey from the hives and everything else. So I don't know how farmers do it. I tell myself I'd love to be a farmer, but you would never get a vacation, because there's all we're wannabe farmers or side farmers with regular jobs, and it's even taking a couple of days off. Like when you come back and you got to do this. I mean, it's a lot of stuff to do, just with chickens, honeybees, and a garden. So I don't know how.
Well, what else would you ever want to integrate to your homestead if you ever got the opportunity?
The next step for me is probably. I spent all morning today clearing out trees to have a bigger garden. My wife doesn't want a bigger garden. She's the one who does all the work. That woman, she's a genius with the seeds and so when the person who's doing 90% of the work doesn't want a bigger garden, okay, well you're probably
I'll defer to
but we had a really good garden this year. So I mean, I guess bigger in my head, bigger is always better, but. Man, we were pretty lucky this year. So, I guess for me, the next step, and she doesn't want it either. It would be either rabbits or goats. Yeah. But like I said, it's because
rabbits. Why rabbits?
Because because you can skin them easily. It's just pound for pound is probably the cheapest meat you can get.
There's never any short supply either.
No, and it's if you're talking, just protein, pound for pound, rabbit's probably about the best you can go, and they're easy to skin. Yeah. So, but as far as the everyday care, my wife would probably catch about 80% of that, and she doesn't want rabbits, for good reasons. Yeah. So,
well, goats are pretty cool. I mean, I've had family members that have, and I mean, they're pretty resourceful. I mean, they'll take care of some stuff.
Well, I'd like for them to clear out some of our land. We got a bunch of brush and all, but I've heard that they're hard to keep in. They're they're escape artists. Yeah. So, and then I heard that the billy goat's the male. Yeah. I heard they're pretty stanky. Mm-hmm. So
they don't smell good at all. And they stare at you really weird.
They have the weird eyes. Yeah. The sideways. Yeah. It's a weird looking animal. But
I've seen guys out. Actually, it was out in Gay in Heard County. No, not Heard County, in Meriwether, and he uses sheep for land management. I mean, he'll sanction off a little area to clear out, and I think he puts maybe 24 sheep out there.
Wow.
Leaves them for about, I guess, a week, and I mean, privet, everything is gone, and then he picks up the pen, moves it to another area and it repeats the process.
See, that's what I would like to do, just to clear out all the brush that we have at our house. So, like I said, I spent probably 4 hours a day, doing what they could do, what they would prefer to do. Yeah. But I had never thought about sheep.
Oh yeah, he said that they're just like goats, except that their demeanor is obviously a little bit more laid back. They're more open to suggestion.
And anytime you're ever having trouble sleeping, you can just go outside and count them, right? Yeah.
There you go.
As much trouble as I have when I'm working night shift, I just go out in my yard and count sheep.
Man, well, I mean, I know guys that are down at the jail that prefer the night. I mean, they're like, I'm on days, man. I'm a wreck. It's going to take me at least 2 weeks to get.
Well, half my shift would probably prefer nights. I like night shift. The calls are, generally a little bit more high adrenaline. So working night shift is fun, but having off nights, I woke up at 2:00 this morning, and I waited. The sunrise was 7:40, so I waited, and I kept looking. I kept checking my phone to make sure that the sunrise was 7:40. That's how eager I was for the sun to come up, so I could go outside and start working. So for 5 hours, I'm just watching the clock to where I can do something. Jeez, so I've been up all day. So I don't do my off days as well as the other guys. They'll stay on that routine. They'll when they're off, they'll still stay up all night, sleep all day. Some of them play the online video games or whatever, but I'm not. I don't want to play a video game for 12 hours. Okay. But they so I do night shift about as poorly as anyone can. But I will say the guys who like it, it's for good reason, because you do find, like I said, it's a little bit more high adrenaline stuff that for the most part that happens. So that's fun, and I get that. But I've got a high school senior and a middle schooler. I'm trying to so my off days, I'm trying to get back on that routine. So I'm just constantly going back and forth between the two, and it's oh man, I do not do it well at all. It's not good.
I don't know. I mean, it's just strange to me. I can never get into that.
The good thing about it is our rotation. By the time my body just can't take any more,
Yeah.
it's time for day shift.
Well, that's
And
nice.
then you'll fool with Bullsboro traffic for 2 months, and by the time that your brain can't take any more of that, it's time for night shift.
Yeah.
So at least we do a good, we got the timing of it down right. So
well, that's cool.
yeah.
I mean, having that time, again, when you're not surrounded by all the stuff going on, traffic, people, everything that goes along with day shift. I mean, when do you get your good thinking done?
When do I get good thinking done? There'd probably be people argue that I never get good thinking done. So I don't know.
Any advantage I can get.
Yeah, I tend to be the most. If I didn't have a day job, let's say, and all I had to do was write a column.
Yeah.
I tend to be the most creative if I woke up at 4:00, drank a couple cups of coffee, went and worked out.
4:00
a.m. I'd wake up if I just left to my own devices. I'd wake up at 4:00 in the morning, drink 2 cups of black coffee, go to the gym, come home, take a 30-minute nap, and I'd wake up, and that's when that's my most creative.
That's cool.
So yeah, my best columns come on days that I'm able to do that. On day shift, you can kind of get in that routine because I wake up at 4:00 every day for 2 months straight. Once I get adjusted back. So
how long have you done that? I mean,
I've been with the county for.
Have you always been able to wake up early? Okay.
Oh yeah, I've never been a late sleeper.
Okay.
So I've always just that's about 4 is my time.
Okay.
Your internal clock or whatever.
I wish I had that. I mean, you can get so much stuff done if you get up early.
Well, see, I enjoy. I'm doing it work at 6 a.m. and I'll wake up at 4 because I enjoy. I'm old, so it's like you got to lube the joint. So like I like drinking 2 cups of coffee. I like I couldn't
hit the ground running.
No, I would have a horrible day. It would be it would just be bad.
Yeah.
If I woke up and then left the house 15 minutes. It takes me probably 20 minutes to get into my uniform at least. I might be being generous on that But so I mean, it's a lot of.
You got a shower in the morning too?
Well, on Sundays. No, I'm just kidding. So, but yeah, so I shower in the morning.
I've got to. Man.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't feel like it's a day yet until that's done.
Well, and even I mean, I've had days in the winter where like our uniform is not the easiest to get into. So I've been like just the winter I'll be sweating. Now, if I'm getting into my uniform at say 5 p.m. or 4:30 p.m. in the summertime, I'm dripping sweat.
Yeah.
Fresh out of the shower, on my way to work, and I'll be dripping sweat. It's just what it is, you know. And I'm a sweater anyway, so I'm sure like not everybody has that issue, but it's an ordeal getting in.
I can't complain about the heat because I mean I see the guys that come and go that are wearing body armor, and I'm just like, man, I got nothing to complain about. My gosh.
When they first gave me my uniform and I was getting ready, and like you put it all on, and it's loosened up a little bit now, but I was like, I told the kids, I'm like, listen, if you ever see an officer drop something, just pick it up for him. Like, just for the love of God, just don't make that poor man bend down.
Man a break.
Yeah.
It's
it is not a comfort, but it's all necessary. You know what I'm saying? Like, and even everything that I don't know how the skinny people do it. Like, because I'm kind of fat, and what I have around my belt, and when I sit in the car, there's no room.
Yeah.
I don't know how the skinny people. I don't know how they fit it on their belt because they'd have to be hitting them in the back as like between the back and their car seat.
Yeah.
I don't. Man, they're better than I am. So.
Well, cool, man. Well, I think for a first podcast, we did pretty good.
I'm excited about it.
We can probably talk about more stuff all the time.
I think we can. So
if people keep listening, that'll be great.
Next week we'll talk about Gulf Shores. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. let's dive into how the rich people live out there on Gulf Shores.
Yeah.
And poor schlubs out here on the Panama City.
They look down on us Panama City people.
Oh man, yeah. I don't go to Panama City.
Yeah.
I go to Gulf Shores. I don't know where do they go now, the people that used to go to Gulf Shores, because I heard that's kind of played out now too.
I don't know.
I don't know how the other half lives.
I don't either.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks, man. We'll pick this up.
Well, I look forward to the next one. Yeah. Hopefully this will get some steam going.
Heck yeah, man. All right. We'll talk to y'all later. Well, that's it for today, folks. If you like what you hear, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and also be sure to visit our sponsor, Ace Beer Growlers, your source for rockwood, lump charcoal, cast iron skillets from Smithy Ironware, along with a variety of beers, wines, rubs, and cigars.
Mention promo code podcast and get $1 off any sauce or rub in the store. Visit their location on Westcourt Square, right next to Piedmont Newnan Gym. Thanks again for listening, and hope to catch you again next time.